going on, everyone? Welcome back to Nuts and Bolts Sports. We are going to do a nice Week 13 roundup just because there has been a lot of chaos going on in the NFL, and I feel like we should talk about it. But, of course, I didn't want to do this solo, so I've got Joe Cardozo here, of course, CEO of Nuts and Bolts.
Hello. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, man. Washington won last night, so I'm fantastic.
I know. I'm surprised you're not wearing like a hat or something, just repping it.
I kind of wanted to keep on the low. Should have told me that in the email. I would have.
Make it all red and gold in your background. We've also got Dom here, the Dom Steeler. Whoa, we didn't even plan this. One win, ouch.
Hey, listen, it's all good. It's all good. I'm still repping my team. I still feel good about us. Joe, good guy. Congrats on the win. You guys deserved it.
It was a good game. It was a good game.
It was a good game. I was surprised, but I was choosing Washington just because somebody had to win. Somebody had to beat the Steelers. Okay, last person. We've got Keith here as well to join the fun of Week 13. How are you, Keith?
Good. I just got my popcorn here. I just want to see what Dom and Joe have to say.
Well, they could face off real quick if you guys want.
I'm good. I have no bad things to say at all.
Right.
Had we lost, I probably would have not even been on the show.
Okay, before we start, I want to know, since we're technically in Week 13 today, we have a Tuesday night game. I want to know who everybody is predicting to win. So let's start, Joe.
I hate Dallas. I'm going to go to Baltimore. I think the Ravens get back on track.
Okay, cool. Dom?
Same. Baltimore, I don't think they can run the risk of losing another game and really bouncing themselves out of having any playoff hopes this year. So they're desperate tonight if they get the win.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And Keith?
Before yesterday, I would have been really comfortable saying the Ravens, but I don't know. I think the Ravens will still win, but this weekend has proved to expect the unexpected.
To trust the East, is that what you mean?
I don't know if I'm going to go that far.
Okay, so if you guys have been following along the past 12 weeks, we've been posting our collective Nuts and Bolts top 10. And so the other day, we had somebody else that was going to join, but he was questioning why we kept putting the Chiefs first rather than having the Steelers first with their undefeated title. And so that spurred up this entire show. So before we jump into what everyone's top 10 are, I want to know, Keith, what were you were arguing alongside me as to why we picked the Chiefs to remain number one, and I want to know why do you think that?
For me, it's I know I'm not trying to hate on the Steelers. They were undefeated until last night or the other day, whenever that was. But if you look at it from a standpoint of just because you have an undefeated record doesn't mean you're the best team. I mean, we see all the time in college sports, a lot of teams are undefeated, but they really don't do anything or make it to any national championships just because quality of the competition isn't that great. And that's not to say the quality of competition of the Chiefs is that great either. Just when I see both teams play, I would feel better as a betting man, which I do a lot, betting on the Chiefs than I would the Steelers. Like the Steelers just did not look as good of a team as the Chiefs do. And the Chiefs are getting better, and it looks like the Steelers are kind of falling towards the mean.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I was basing the entire argument on the fact that the Chiefs have a stronger offense, and I think that's why I was choosing the Chiefs to win like any day of the week. So let's go to the Steelers fan, and what do you think about this? Because I don't think you've really ranked your team number one either throughout the week. So why do you kind of agree with what we were arguing about, I guess?
Yeah, so similar to what Keith said, the Steelers have been undefeated, right? And they've looked really good, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. Like, that's their strong suit. That's where, they are totally every definition of the word of elite, right? However, one of the things that I've been concerned about with Pittsburgh is that we are a slow starting team, specifically on offense, which means that for that first quarter and a half, our offense isn't going to do much. We're not a team that starts fast. It takes us time to get into rhythm. And a part of that is because this team can't run the ball. It's been something that's plagued the Steelers. Really, they were running the ball well in the beginning of the year, but over the past, I would say 6 or 7 weeks, you've seen those rushing numbers fall. And too many times you see the Steelers in 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, 3rd and goal, 4th and goal, and they're passing the ball because they just don't trust the run game at all. And if you want to be elite, if you want to have a real shot at winning a championship, you need to be able to run the clock. You need to be able to run the ball. So that's kind of where I'm worried about the Steelers. But yeah, I definitely have the Chiefs ahead of them.
Yeah, and I feel like after last night's game, that's like the major talk of the town is the running game. So let's hit everybody's big boards. We're going to start off with my own, I guess. So here's the top 10 I put up for the week. I had a typo. I should have put the Rams at 10, but whatever. Let's pretend I'm sticking with the Dolphins. Next, we've got Dom's up here. So we have like similar ideas. We've got Keith here. Oh, Keith's got the Dolphins 10 too. Okay, cool. I'm not solo. And last but not least, we've got Joe's. So overall, I think we collectively have, the same top 5, top 6 teams, but we still have Chiefs number 1. So let's talk about who do we believe is the best offense right now out of those top 10, even your top 5 if you want to narrow it down even smaller. So, Joe, who's the best defense right now in that top 10 that we've put up?
Best defense?
Oh, sorry, I meant offense. I went back and forth.
Oh, that's all right. Offense, I'll still say Kansas City. I mean, Patrick Mahomes putting up video game numbers. We saw what he did. I still have that Buccaneers game in my mind where he was just toying with those guys and doing whatever he wants. The Broncos played out of their minds on Sunday night, put up a hell of a fight. But at the end of the day, it's almost like when Patrick Mahomes and those guys want to turn it on, they can turn it on. KC's defense is not the strongest in the league at all, but that offense just so many weapons, and Patrick Mahomes is just so good. They're almost never count out of any game.
Yeah, no, definitely. Dom or Keith, I think we kind of all touched upon why we picked the Steelers second compared to the Chiefs. So, Dom, go ahead.
You said me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
When I think about the best offenses in the league, when I think of the best offenses in the league, it's hands down Kansas City, right? So Kansas City, when you look at them, they're putting up 314 passing yards per game, very quietly running the ball pretty effectively. They're about middle of the league, about 113 yards per game there. But the magic is obviously Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. You have those two. It is a perfect marriage. Andy Reid is an absolute quarterback guru, and Patrick Mahomes is probably the most talented quarterback we've ever seen in NFL history. And then you just compare that with all of the weapons that he has with Tyreek Hill, with Travis Kelce, who are both 1,000-yard receivers already. You have Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell. You have Sammy Watkins. You have Mecole Hardman. Like it's an embarrassment of riches that Kansas City has. And quite honestly, no one really has the perfect blend of chemistry and personnel and talent that Kansas City has, and that's really what separates them from everyone else in the league offensively. Is just that they can do things that other teams just can't.
Yeah, 110%. And finally, Keith, who is the best offense for you?
I mean, of course, you got to go with the Chiefs. And the sad reality of offense with the Chiefs is their red zone offense is really not that great. I mean, they average 30.8 points per game right now. But if their red zone offense was top 5 in the league, they might be averaging 40 points a game. So, I mean, that's great for other teams that they don't score every time they get inside the 20. But the problem is they score so many times on deep plays, long runs. It's just you can't have 2 shutdown corners, 2 shutdown safeties, and a front 7 that's going to be able to blitz and get to Mahomes. It's not possible. He's something ridiculously crazy, like over 100 rating on against the blitz when there's 5 or more rushers. You can't blitz him. You can't sit back in coverage. Really, you just can't do anything but hope he just has a bad game, which rarely happens.
Yeah, well, we all collectively agree Chiefs have the best offense right now in the league. So let's make it a little more exciting and talk about defenses. Now, throughout the last 12 weeks, I think that's changed tremendously, right? You know, the first 4 weeks, I have a different defense in mind, but the first 4 weeks, I didn't think this team was, you know, going to keep up with the name that they were holding, which was to be a Super Bowl contention team. So before I say who I think the best defense is right now, I would like to hear from Dom. Who is the best defense to you?
The best defense to me. Whew. You know, I'm not going to be, this isn't me trying to be a homer. I honestly feel like it's Pittsburgh. I think the Saints are giving them a run for their money right now. I do want to give them some credit. The Saints have been playing some really awesome defense over the past couple weeks. But right now, it's Pittsburgh. You have two guys who are Defensive Player of the Year candidates. You have a team that has had at least one sack in 69 consecutive games. Have a chance to break that record next week. And they're holding teams to under 18 points per game. Like, this team is special. They lead the league in sacks and takeaways. Pittsburgh defense, again, that's the reason why we look at them and say they have a chance of being a Super Bowl contender. You know, I think they're the best defense to match up against Kansas City. But right now, I think Pittsburgh defense is absolutely special, and they're cementing themselves as the best in the league. And they've done it since
I threw Joe in because I saw Joe's reaction on the backstage, and I want him to send his rebuttal and tell us who he thinks the best defense is.
Well, I just threw my hands up because I was like, Steelers, really? But he cleared himself though when he said he's not trying to be a homer. Nah, for me, I go with that Los Angeles Rams, actually, believe it or not. I just think that Aaron Donald's a man among boys. Jalen Ramsey, a shutdown quarter. You even got a guy like Michael Brocker just making a lot of big plays for the Rams as well. It's just unfortunate they have an inconsistent quarterback in Jared Goff. But I think the Rams defense is really, really underrated. I mean, they're in top 10 in every defensive category. But when people talk about elite defenses this season, they're talking about your Steelers. They're also talking about the Colts and talking about the Saints, rightfully so. But I think a lot of people are sleeping on the LA Rams defense.
Okay, finally, I want to hear from Keith. Nobody has said my team yet, so I'm wondering if that's who you're thinking of as well.
Well, if you're thinking the Saints, the answer is yes.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I mean, and honestly, there's 3 or 4 teams that can arguably say that they are the best defense in the NFL.
Yes,
but you look at what the Saints are doing on defense. They're first in yards allowed at 288.8. Fourth in passing yards per game, 212.8. Second in rushing yards allowed per game at 74.2. And they're fourth at 28.1 points per game allowed. A lot was said about them at the beginning of the season, but ever since they've been healthy, this past 4, 5, 6 week they've been they've been on. They seems like sometimes they're impossible to score on. I mean, yeah, it helps to play Matt Ryan twice in that stretch in a Denver team that didn't have a quarterback, but even putting that aside, you just look at how fast that defense is, how aggressive they are, how smart they play. I think right now I would have to say they're the best defense in the league.
And I think the way they've evolved since week 4, like I think they're like ranked 3rd in interceptions or something along those lines. Like I think they're putting so much pressure on the quarterbacks that it's showing. And this weekend they're taking on the Eagles, which is just so sad for Jalen Hurts. I'm upset, but that'll be a different conversation. Okay, so now that we've gotten there, I'm wondering everybody's top 5 teams. Who do you think is going to maintain this momentum that they've built? Because we have seen the craziest NFL season. I don't think we're ever going to experience something like this again, and I truly hope not. But, Joe, I want to know, who are your top 5 teams right now?
Oh, my top teams will be Chiefs. I still have the Steelers at number 2, Saints at 3, Packers at 4, and then coming up hard and fast, number 5, Buffalo Bills. I think they were a feel-good story. It was awesome to see the Bills make the playoffs because it's been so long since Bills Mafia made the playoffs. Well, now they've left the feel-good story category, and now the Bills are becoming legitimate contenders. I mean, what we saw last night against the 49ers, what we've been seeing from Josh Allen, yeah, they're number 5 in my rankings personally, but I think Buffalo's a team to contend with.
Okay. Sounds like something I feel like everybody's going to follow along the lines of. Keith, who are your top 5?
So number one, of course, is the Chiefs. 3, I have the Saints. Number 4, I actually put the Bills. And a move that surprised me over anyone else, I talked so much crap about this team. I put the Browns at number 5. Before that win they had this weekend, I was hesitant to put them anywhere near top 5, even a top 10 at sometimes. They had a good record, but they didn't have anything to show for it. With that win that they picked up, they have something to show for it now. They've gotten back to the formula that they had at the beginning of the season, to where you don't lean on Baker Mayfield as much, and the defense has still been pretty good as well. I'm just hesitant to say they'll end the season that way, just because they have waffled on how they play with Baker Mayfield. But as of right now, I think they're the 5th best team in the league.
You think the Bills are going to carry this on through the rest of the season? Because I'm not going to lie, I disagree. But Dom, let's hit your 5 first. I'm going to keep us up so we can see the reactions too, because it's funner that way.
So my 5 teams, I think we all are going to have around the same 5. They just might be in a different order. I have the Chiefs number 1. I've had the Steelers at 2, but after a loss to Washington, a game I feel like they should have won. And just because I've seen them the writing has been on the wall that there's some problems with this team, I had them drop down to 3. I have the Saints at 2 right now. I really like how the Saints are playing. The Packers are another team who Aaron Rodgers is different. He's cut from a different cloth. And then same with Joe, the Buffalo Bills. The Bills, very quietly too, the Bills have played a pretty tough schedule. Like, we talk about the Chiefs, we talk about the Steelers, and everyone's like, oh, well, they didn't play the toughest schedule. The Bills have played a tough schedule, and they still have a damn good record. They've beaten some really good teams. They've shown up when they need to. Outside of that, with Buffalo, outside of that Tennessee game, really, that's the only big disappointment I feel like they've had all year. So Buffalo, I think, is definitely cooking something up.
Okay, so we have, the Bills are taking on the Steelers next week. Top 5 teams here. Who's the projected win here based off of what happened last week or yesterday? So,
man, that's tough. I think that if there's anybody I wouldn't want to play after they lost a game, it'd be Pittsburgh and with a coach like Mike Tomlin. He's going to have those guys ready to play. So I think that's a big advantage Pittsburgh has. But like I said, a lot of people still think Buffalo's a feel-good story. They're just happy to be here. Oh, man, the cute little Buffalo. And they want to shake that label. There's no better way to shake that label than to punch the big bad bully, the Steelers, in the mouth. And then also, if Pittsburgh loses that game, just something like to ask you guys, is it possible the Browns might be able to come all the way back and win the division?
No, I don't think so. But Keith, you go first.
I'll put it this way. I have the Steelers losing one more game this season, and that game is going to be against the Browns. So, no, I don't think the Browns are going to win the division. I think the Browns are – so they might be close, but I'm trying to think of how I saw it. Pittsburgh will still end up winning the division. The Browns will make it uncomfortably close for them, but they'll still win the division. That's why I put the Browns, I think, in the end of the season at the top 5. I think they are going to get over that hump and beat the Steelers once this season, but I think the Steelers will still win the division.
Okay, Dom, who do you predict would win that game? Your team.
So I have the Steelers winning this game, but for the same reason Joe said, not just because, again, I'm not a homer. I promise. I'm going to be objective as much as possible here, guys. But no, seriously, coming off of a loss, I feel like it really reshapes your focus and gets you to recalibrate and get you back on track. I think when you are going on a winning streak, it's very easy to gloss over some of the things that you're doing wrong because it doesn't matter. We're still winning anyways. That's not going to be the case now. You have a team that's upset and feels like they just lost a game that they should have won, Now you've got a really good team in Buffalo coming up, and it's kind of a way to test your mettle and see where you stack up seriously. Coming off of a loss, you get to bounce back. I'm taking Pittsburgh in this game.
Okay.
And also, no, you can't win this division at all.
I was just asking a question, man. I was trying to throw some spice into the pot, man.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I think it's going to be closer than we expected 4 weeks ago, but
No,
I still think they win the division.
Okay, if they do win the division, actually, I don't even want to ask that question. Just forget it. Okay, the next team that we're covering so much, obviously, is the Chiefs. I think they have the easiest schedule coming up: Dolphins, Saints, Falcons, Chargers. Like, how do you think? Which the only toss-up game could be Saints and Chiefs. How could they win? Since Keith and I think that the Saints have the best defense right now. Keith, how can the Chiefs win and still remain on top?
I mean, I made this argument against or with the Steelers and Chiefs, and there's always the concept that defense wins Super Bowls. And I still think that applies for the most part. You still need a top 15 defense at least to win Super Bowl. But the NFL now is based on offensive teams, and they by far have the best offensive team. Saints defense has been really good, but they can at times struggle to score points. By that game, it's possible that there will be a toss-up of whether Drew Brees or Taysom Hill is going to start. That might complete some stagnation in the offense, and you have to score at least 20 points if you want to beat that team, and you're not always sure if the Saints can do that, especially if it's going to be Taysom Hill under center. So I think the Saints just have too much offensive firepower, and I think they're going to win that game as well.
Okay, I honestly just threw that question in because we had the same defense, and I wanted to know what your thoughts were. So just to tie everything together, aside from our top 5, who is a team that you think will surprise us with the next coming weeks? Because it's like hunt season, as I like to call it, because whoever doesn't make it, there's a lot of contending teams. So who will surprise you coming up, Joe?
Ooh, I wanted to go with the Colts when you sent us that question, but Phillip Rivers, man, he's just those costly turnovers are in his resume for years past. So I can't go with the Colts. So it might seem like a strange team pick to some people because all of us have them in our top 3. But I'm going with the Saints only because you got one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time who's been sitting out, getting healthy, watching these games. Don't think he's not watching film and ways to improve himself. Michael Thomas is working his way back into the swing of things. Their defense is on fire, and then Kamara's Kamara. So I have the Saints because a lot of people aren't really talking about them as much as they should be. And as well as they're playing without Drew Brees, you can only imagine what they're going to be like when they get number 9 back under center.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Keith, what about you?
I was between 2 teams. One of them was the Browns, but I ended up with the Saints as well. So I thought of a mindset of between now and whenever the season ends, that being the Super Bowl. I don't think the Saints are going to win the Super Bowl, but if you look at how well their defense is playing, Taysom Hill has actually picked up quite a bit in the 3 starts that he has. Last game, he was phenomenal. It sounds ironic because I picked them losing to the Chiefs, but I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a close game. I think Taysom Hill is still in that game. They're going to rest Drew Brees as long as he can because Taysom Hill is playing so well. But you get a healthy, rested Drew Brees in the playoffs with that defense and that chemistry that he has with Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. I honestly didn't pick them at the beginning of the season, but I think they're going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl when it's all said and done. Okay,
Dom, hit us with yours.
So I'm not going to go with a top 3 team like Joe and Keith.
I like it.
I'm glad. I was like, you guys can't be surprised with the top 3 people, okay?
But yeah, there are 2 teams that came to mind. Cleveland is one of them. I think Cleveland's going to win a playoff game this year. I really do. I think, yes.
You heard it.
Yes, I think Cleveland makes the playoffs, and I think they win a playoff game. I think, because you know what it is? It's Nick Chubb and this run game that they have. when Nick Chubb gets going, Baker Mayfield can play totally free. He can stick to script. He doesn't have to do too much. And Kevin Stefanski, I think, is not getting enough credit. Like, we should be talking about him in conversation for Coach of the Year. Just for taking this team from what they were from last year to now. It's ridiculous. So I really like the Browns, and I'm also going to give a little bit of love to the Dolphins. I thought the Bills were going to start to run away with that division. Miami is hot on their tail. Like, Miami is right there. Buffalo, you are not comfortable by any stretch of the imagination because this Dolphins team, specifically that defense, is playing out of their mind. Tua looks legit. But yeah, those are my two teams, mainly Cleveland, though.
Okay. I'm still a Cleveland hater. I think that was like Baker's shine and stop, you know? It's
not the shine and stop.
It's like
listen, I'm a Steeler fan. They're like little bro to us. I don't like them, but I see what they're doing and I respect it. It's cute. It's cute that they're finally playing meaningful football.
Getting OBJ off the field has allowed Baker to perform in this way, like best receiver. I don't get how that doesn't make sense in the land of quarterbacks, but that's weird. But to me, last week was a stellar performance, killing the Titans and all that. But I just don't see that carrying on. But that's just my perspective on what I think Baker is able to do. Plus, Titans didn't put a lot of pressure on him, so there's going to be harder defenses that he's going to come up against, and I think that's what's going to deter him from this high shining time. But anyways,
I would say one thing is for certain, though, the Bills have the toughest schedule moving forward. They play the Steelers, then they play the Broncos, then they play the Patriots and the Dolphins. And the Patriots may seem like a throwaway game, but they've sneakily gotten back to 500 without much notice from anyone else because they have been playing so poorly for the rest of the season. So I think they probably win 3 out of those 4 games, but I would not be shocked if they lose 2 of those games either.
Which ones do you think they'd lose?
I think they're going to lose against the Steelers, and I think they're going to lose against the Dolphins.
Wow. Okay. What about
– Where's the game against the Dolphins at? Is it Miami?
Week 17 at Miami.
I have a nice, comfortable seat in the Bills bandwagon. I like my seat so far.
Wow. Okay. Because of why?
Just the way they're playing. I mean, they've just been really consistent. Their defense is good enough. Stephon Diggs is phenomenal. Josh Allen can do it all, can throw the ball, can run the ball. He's one of those guys that doesn't get a lot of credit. Just the growth from his rookie season to where he is now has just been really big. I mean, I'm not saying the Bills are going to make the Super Bowl or anything like that, but I just think they're a lot better than people think they are.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. That performance last night was great, and they just made the Niners look like mush. So, good and good. But I don't know if we have lost Dom. Are you back? Okay, there you are. Dom, who do you predict will the Bills win those 4 games? Next, they take on Steelers, like we've already discussed, Broncos, Patriots, and the Dolphins. How do you think that's going to look for them?
They'll win at least 2. I think they'll go 2-2. Like I said, I think they lose to Pittsburgh. They'll beat the Broncos. I think they'll beat the Patriots. I think the Dolphins game is the one that they lose. And like I said, I like the Dolphins. Like I said, they're my surprise team. The Dolphins are going to make a push. I want to say the Dolphins are going to make the playoffs this year. But I got Buffalo 2-2 down the stretch. 2-2 down the stretch.
Okay, cool. Well, we released our predictions and our rankings for week 13, and I feel like we probably have a lot more to talk about after tonight's game because I am thinking somehow Dallas turns it around. Don't ask me why. I just think that Lamar is coming from an injury, right? He had COVID. We have to remember his whole respiratory system could have gone through something, and they delayed the game to get him back. And
3 times, by the way.
We all know the Ravens depend on
conspiracy theory. That was not proven that was all done for Lamar Jackson. You guys say,
oh, come on. Anyway. That's so many days that they delayed it. As a Bronco fan,
the Broncos,
okay.
Right. The Broncos had to play with
wide receiver.
high school quarterback.
That's their own fault.
Okay.
That's their quarterback room with no masks on. Lamar Jackson.
We couldn't
I'll
push the Broncos game back.
Yeah, I said on Monty's show that Broncos do have to accept responsibility for their quarterbacks being stupid. But at the same time, if the Chiefs or the Patriots or the Cowboys, any of those big market teams were playing without a single starting quarterback one day before the game, I bet you they would have postponed that game.
I don't think so.
Dude,
maybe I'm not.
It's a primetime player. It's a primetime player. You got to accept the NFL plays favorite children. Okay, they delayed whatever they could so that Lamar could get back on the field. They tried to push it so that the Ravens-Steelers game was still like possible for the 3 running backs that are all out to come back. Mark Andrews too. Like, come on. I just think it's all set up. So that's why I think somehow Dallas could pull through. Maybe Zeke can shine once again or something like that. But I don't think it's going to be like a crazy win. Maybe like 3 points. But if I'm wrong tomorrow, everybody can come for me in the comments because that's just my idea of what it's like to have half of your team, get COVID and then try to come back and win a game after the short break that they've had. So whatever. But
anyway, my $20 says that the Ravens are going to win.
You said what?
My $20 says that the Ravens are going to win. So
there you have it.
That's what I'm going with.
Okay, we're putting money down too. I'm still sticking to it. Well, anyways, thanks everyone for tuning in for our 13th roundup.
I'll bet $20 money too.
Okay, Dom's on it. Now it's a $40 bet. So
I was just talking about the $20 I put on the game on FanDuel.
Oh, okay. So it's our fake $40. Okay, it's a Bitcoin bet.
There you go.
But anyways, I want to thank you guys for hopping on. This has been fun. We should definitely do another table talk, especially because the NFL is very uncertain in these days. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks Keith, Dom, and Joe for being a part of everything. And enjoy the game tonight. And don't forget to subscribe and follow Nuts and Bolts.